Hi scientists!
My name is Yasmin.
And I'm Steph.
And welcome to Fun Fact Friday. Today we're going to be talking about nutrition and diet. Now we have over 30 animals here at Nature Postings. So we are going to be going over only 4 different types of animals, 4 different types of diets.
Now let's get started.
How much and what type of food to give these animals?
Well, Miss Yasmin, we actually have our Nature Postings animal menu right here and nutrition guide that goes over every single animal, what they eat, and how often they eat it. Each individual animal is a little bit different. That's why we have all the different animals in here. And they also change. So sometimes we have to go in here and change their diet depending on their age, depending on their mood, and all that stuff. You know, it's just like us.
Yeah.
We like different things sometimes, so we have to constantly be changing their diets. We're going to be going over 4 different animals to learn about those type of diets that they have and how we feed them. Now our first animal here is Misha. She is a Russian tortoise, and she is actually an herbivore. And that means that she eats vegetation, which could include anything that comes from plants. So fruits, vegetables, seeds, and all of that kind of stuff. She also sometimes snacks on her own defecation, which kind of recycles the nutrients back through her body.
Now, what is defecation?
Yasmin, that's poop.
Ew!
We don't say the E word at Nature Postings, we say interesting instead.
Yeah, sorry, interesting.
Right? So, and we also don't say poop, that's why I call it defecation. Now, we do have a very strict diet for her. But the first thing we want to start with, guys, is every single one of our animals needs water to survive. So along with all their food that you see on this table, they all have a small water dish to drink from and to stay hydrated. For Misha, sometimes we do have to spray her cage so that she can stay hydrated. Now, starting with her diet, Misha eats an abundance of different types of vegetation. We have for her collard greens, we have carrots, and we have apples. And these 3 different types of vegetables and fruits allow her to have all the nutrients that she needs to survive. Ms. Yasmin, we can't just feed her however much we want. We actually have a proportion that we feed her. So she only gets around 20 grams of collard greens, and then she gets 15 grams of carrots and 15 grams of apples. And that's why we have this scale here, because we measure out all the food that she eats. Now we also have over here some calcium. Calcium is not just for Misha and the tortoises, it's actually for a lot of the reptiles because they need calcium as a supplement to what they're not getting in the wild.
So can we just put as much as we want?
No, Yasmin, that's not how it works. We actually have a very strict amount that we use for them. We have our own Nature Postings measurements right here. So we give them a smidgen of calcium, which is a very, very little amount. So that was our herbivore. So now we're gonna move on to our next animal.
So here we have Pretzel, and Pretzel is our ball python. Now, ball pythons are carnivores, so he only eats meat, which means he'll eat small rodents, he might eat eggs, birds, things like that. So he is an adult ball python, which means he does require something a little bit bigger, which means he gets a medium rat once a week. A ball python is a constrictor. As a constrictor, he needs to squeeze his prey in order to kill them.
So does he have any venom, Yasmin?
No.
So then I can poke his face and it'll be fine.
No. That's not what I'm saying. He could still bite you. They do still have fangs. Does not necessarily mean he won't attack. It just means he doesn't have any venom, which brings us to the next point. We are not allowed to handle snakes until 48 hours after they've eaten. If you handle them in that time frame, it could stress them out. They could regurgitate their meal.
And how often do we feed these guys?
Now, these guys are supposed to eat once a week, but if they're in their breeding season, they could go up to 6 months without eating.
And what's breeding season?
So breeding season is when these guys want a girlfriend. What they'll do is they'll start to slim down by not eating so that they can catch a girlfriend faster than other males.
So they're just trying to get their summer body.
Exactly.
To get the girls. Got it. All right.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
So that's it for Pretzel, our carnivore. So on to the next animal.
Let's go. The next animal that we have here is Charlotte, who is our curly-haired tarantula. Now she is what we consider an insectivore.
A what?
An insectivore. It's an animal that only eats insects. A lot of people look at her and they think she's an insect, but she's actually an arachnid. We feed her crickets. And to be precise, we actually feed her 2 crickets every other day of the week. Of course, just like our other animals, sometimes she can be a little bit picky. If a cricket is standing still or if it's missing some legs, she won't want to eat it because she might think that there's something wrong with it or if it's dead already. And that can be actually fatal for her because any crickets left in her cage can actually kill her.
Wait, a cricket?
Yeah, Miss Yasmin, these crickets can be pretty vicious and they can eat anything. If we leave these crickets in there long enough, they will eat her. So that's not good. Obviously, we don't want her to get hurt. So every time we feed her, we have to be watching out and making sure that there are no other crickets in her cage that can hurt her. Normally, we take them out if we see that they're still there and we put new ones in. Now, in their molting season, they can actually go a couple of weeks without eating. We're going to be talking about that in another Fun Fact Friday, so you guys just stay tuned. Now, another thing about these tarantulas is that we need to soak them continuously, and their habitats need to be moist. They live in South America in the rainforest, so it's a lot of water down there, so they need that water in their habitat in order to stay hydrated. So that's it for Charlotte. We're going to get back to her in another episode, but say bye for now.
Bye. Now, this is Indigo. Indigo is our blue-tongued skink. Now, blue-tongued skinks' diets are a little different. She's actually an omnivore. She can actually eat everything on this table. So she eats veggies and fruits and insects and actually little small animals, small rats and eggs, things that she could get a hold of. So for Indigo, she specifically gets 15 grams of collard greens, 10 grams of carrots, 10 grams of apples. She gets 10 crickets and 5 worms. She gets less veggies and fruits than, let's say, the tortoise, because she also gets protein. So we have to create this balance for her. She not only gets veggies and fruits, but she also gets her insects.
So Yasmin, can I just throw the crickets in her cage and she'll just eat them?
No, not necessarily. That's why we use the tweezers. It's better to keep a distance from these animals when feeding them. Now for her, the older she gets, the slower she gets. So if we were to just throw these crickets in her habitat, most likely she wouldn't be able to catch them. Now, she's a bit of a picky eater, so she prefers her worms over anything else in her diet.
And what's the difference between the worms and the crickets?
Well, actually, the worms are very fatty. They're more like a treat to them, which is why you can't give them too many worms, and that's why she's only limited to 5 worms. The crickets are healthier for her. They have more protein and more nutrients over the worms. So like most reptiles, Indigo needs calcium in her veggies also. So she does need a smidgen of calcium. Yes, a smidgen of calcium in her veggies. She also does have a water bowl in her habitat so that she can drink water, and she does get bathed once a week for soaking, which most reptiles need because it helps their digestive system. That's it for Indigo, our omnivore. So everybody say bye, Indigo.
Bye, Indigo. Now, to review, we went over 4 different animals that had 4 different types of diets. The first animal was our tortoise,
which is a herbivore.
The second animal was our snake,
which is a carnivore.
The third animal was our tarantula,
which is an insectivore.
And the fourth and final animal was our blue-tongued skink,
which is an omnivore.
Now that's all for today. We're going to be seeing you guys next week for our next Fun Fact Friday. So don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week to discover the truth in nature's voice.